Assalamu alaikum students. This video is basically on proportions. As you know that proportions is also coming in the assessment. ये topic भी आपके assessments में आ रहा है. We have discussed some questions in the class regarding proportions. What are direct proportions, inverse proportions, how to make an equation for a direct and inverse proportion, and how to find the value of the missing quantities. We did some questions in the class, and I thought that it will be better for me to make a video on that topic so that this topic can be revised. Since we did this topic in class 8, we have not covered this topic in class 9 extensively. Although we did some questions in the class, but since the time was very important for you, you guys were revising and you were still concerned about your assessment. So I decided that I should make a video on this topic so that we can discuss the type of questions which are coming in the assessment. So basically proportions, when we are comparing two quantities, we use proportions, and proportions basically we will be discussing about two types of proportions, and the two types are direct proportion and the inverse proportion. Basically direct proportion is a proportion in which if we increase one quantity, the other one also increases. And the examples for direct proportions can be number of items and cost. If I increase the number of items, the cost of the items will automatically get increased. And if I reduce the number of items, the cost will also be reduced. So this type of proportion in which one quantity increases as a result of another quantity, this type of proportion is called a direct proportion. The other type of proportion is the inverse proportion, in which if I increase one quantity, the other quantity automatically get decreased. And the example for inverse proportion is the speed and the time to reach a place. For example, if I speed up, if I increase the speed, it will take less time to reach the destination. So this type of proportion in which on increasing one quantity, the other quantity decreases, is called an inverse proportion. And we have some word problems. This arrow shows that if one quantity is increasing, the other one is also increasing, and if one quantity is decreasing, the other one is also decreasing. So for example, I have an example for a direct proportion, how to solve word problems regarding direct proportion. I have items and cost. For example, the question is saying that two items, number of items are two, and the cost of that items is rupees 60. So what will be the cost of four items? So since I don't know the cost of four items, so I wrote X in place of the cost. And I can clearly see that items and costs, if I am increasing item, the cost will automatically get increased. So this is basically a direct proportion. So the strategy which we use in direct proportion is the cross multiplication. So I will just cross multiply these two numbers and these two numbers. 2 will be multiplied with x to get 2x, and 60 will be multiplied with 4. And since I have to find the value of x, this 2 is being multiplied over here, it will be shifted on the other side and it will get divided, and the value of x will be 120. So you can see that on increasing the number of items, the cost is also increasing. First it was 60 and now it is 160, 120. So this is basically a direct proportion in which if I increase one quantity, the other one also increases. The next type of proportion is the inverse proportion. In this proportion, if I am increasing one quantity, the other one will automatically get reduced. Or if I am reducing one quantity, the other will get increased. For example, speed and time. I have a word problem. For example, my speed is 60 miles per hour, and the time taken to reach a certain destination is 2 hours. If I am taking 4 hours to reach my destination, what will be my speed? So since I don't know the speed of the 4 hours, so I can write x in the column of speed. And since I know that on increasing speed, on decreasing speed, the time will increase and decrease. So this is basically a inverse relationship. And in this relationship, the strategy which we use to solve these type of word problems is the sideways multiplication. Just have to multiply 4 with x like this, and I have to multiply 60 with 2. So 4 multiplied by x and 60 multiplied by 2, this 4 will get divided on other side. The value of x will be equals to 30, that is 30 miles per hour. So you can clearly see that the speed is decreasing and the time is increasing. So one quantity is decreased and one quantity is increased. So this type of relation is called the inverse relation or the inverse proportion. If we want to express the proportions mathematically, we can write it like this. This is basically the sign of proportionality, and this expression means that x is directly proportional to y. And when the sign of proportionality disappears, we have to insert an equals to sign and a constant to replace this sign. So my final equation or my final equation for the direct proportion will be x is equals to ky. As far as the inverse proportion is concerned, we can write it mathematically like this. The sign of proportionality will be the same. Since both quantities are inversely proportional, so I will write the other quantity as the inverse. So this can be read out as x is inversely proportional to y. And again, when the sign of proportionality will be removed, we have to insert an equals to sign and a constant k to replace that sign. So the final equation for the inverse proportion will be x is equals to k upon y. So this was an overview of proportions, direct proportion and inverse proportion. Now talking about the type of questions which you can expect in your examination. This chapter is basically taken from D2 7th edition. It is chapter 1 of D2. So you guys can practice. A lot of questions are there in D2, so you can practice these type of questions from there. I will be discussing some questions just to give you a flavor that what are basically type of questions. So I have two questions for direct proportion and I have two questions for inverse proportion, and we will be discussing four questions in this video. So first of all, talking about the direct proportion, if y is directly proportional to x and y is equals to 12 and x is equals to 4, I have to make an equation connecting x and y. And in the second part, I have to find the value of y when x is equals to 8. And in the third part, I have to find the value of x when y is equals to 21. So to solve this question, I have to make an equation first. And after making the equation, it will be very easier for me to solve the second and the third part. So I will be working on making an equation. So since I know that y is directly proportional to x, so I will just write it mathematically like this. So since y is in the beginning, so y will be in the start and x will be in the last. X is directly proportional to y, and on removing the sign of proportionality, this will be y is equals to k times x. And I can see that there are two values given of y and x just after this statement. These two values will be used to find the value of k so that my equation can be completed. So I will just put the values of y and x in this equation. I have y as 12, so I will put 12 in place of y and then an equals to sign, and I don't know the value of k. I have to find the value of k, so k will be as it is. And then this x, the value of x is 4, so I will write 4. 4 will be multiplying and it will get divided on the other side, so the value of k will be 12 upon 4, and 12 upon 4 I know that is equals to 3. So the value of k is basically 3. So I will just put this value of k back in the equation. So the answer of the first part is basically y is equals to 3x. I have calculated the value of k, that is 3. So I will just put it back into the equation, and this is my final equation which is connecting x and y. So this is basically the working of the first part. Now in the second and the third part, I just have to put the values. I have the equation with me. The equation is y is equals to 3x. So I will write the equation y is equals to 3x. And I know that the value, I have to find the value of y when x is equals to 8. So I will just replace x with 8. Y will be as it is because I have to find the value of y. So y will be equals to 3 multiplied by x, and the value of x is 8. So 3 multiplied by 8 So the value of y is equals to 3 multiplied by 8 is 24. So the answer of the second part is basically y is equals to 24. In the third part, I will again use the same equation. So I am writing the equation again, that is y is equals to 3x, and this time I have been given with the value of y. I have to find the value of x. So I will just replace y with 21 since the value of y is 21 given to me, and then 3 multiplied by x. And since I have to find the value of x, so this 3 will be shifted on the other side and it will get divided by 21. So 21 upon 3 is basically 7. So the value of x is basically 7. So this was a question, a type of question which you can expect in your examination, maths assessment. This question is very easy. You just have to make an equation, and after making the equation, you have to find the value of k, and then you just have to use that equation to find the missing values. The second type of question is basically a table question in which you will be given some condition. The condition is y is directly proportional to x. So we have an equation y is equals to kx, but the problem is that the two values are not given in the question. But when you will see the table clearly, you will find two values of x and y given, which has been given to us in order to find the value of k. So I will just replace these two values. This is the value of x and this is the value of y. So I will write 30 in place of y, and then equals to k will be as it is, and I have the value of x as 5, so I will write 5 in place of x, and since I know that this 5 has to be shifted on the other side, so it will get divided, and the value of k will be equals to 5 times 6 is 30. So my equation is basically y is equals to 6x, since I have calculated the value of k as 6. So this is my equation. And now I have again two parts. In the first part, the value of x is given. I have to find the value of y. So I am writing it like this. This is the first part in which I have to find the value of y. So I will again write the equation like this. Y is equals to 6x, and again I have to find the value of y. So I will just put the value of x in place of x. X is 4. X is 4 in the first part, so it will be 6 multiplied by 4, that is equals to 24. So the value of y is basically 24, and x is equals to 4. I will just fill the table like this. I will just write 24 over here. And the second part is the third part basically. The third column is also very much similar. Again, I have to use the same equation. My equation is y is equals to 6x. And again, I have to find the value of y. So I will just write y in place of y. And this is 6, and the value of x is basically 7. So 6 times 7 is 42. So the value of y is basically, so this was two types of questions on direct proportion. The first one was being given in the form of a statement, and the next one was in the form of a table. In both the questions, the first step is to form an equation. You just have to form an equation by using the statement which is given in the question, and you will be given with the values of x and y, which you will use to find the value of k. And then after finding the value of k, you must develop an equation connecting x and y by putting the value of k, and then you can use that equation to find the missing quantities. The same strategy applies to the inverse proportion question. The same type of questions are also there. Two types of questions. The first one is the statement based question, and the next one is the table based question. The strategy is exactly the same. First, I have to make an equation. Since it has been given that y is inversely proportional, So I will write it like this, inversely proportional to x. And I know that when this sign of proportionality will be reduced, will be removed, I will be getting an equation which looks like y is equals to k upon x. And just after that statement of inversely proportional, I have been given with values of y and x. I will just put the value of y as 3 equals to, I have to find the value of k. So k will be as it is, and the value of x will be 4, and this 4 will get multiplied on the other side, and the value of k will be equals to 12. So I will just put this value back in my equation. My equation will be y is equals to 12 upon x. So this is the equation which is connecting x and y. So now I have to find the value of the second part is basically I have to find the value of y. The value of y, so I will just use the exact equation, that is y is equals to 12 upon x. So 12 will be as it is, and in the second part the value of x is 8, so I will just write 8 like this, and this will be reduced by 4, this will be 3 upon 2, and on writing it in the, since it is an improper fraction, so I can write it like this, one whole number 1 upon 2. The third part is also the same, using the same equation. I will just use the same equation, that my equation is y is equals to 12 upon x. This time I have to find the value of x. So I will just shift my equation. I will make x the subject of the equation. So I will shift x and y. X will be equals to 12 upon y. And I have been given with the value of y. The value of y is 48. So I will just put the value of y. This will be 12 upon 48. And I know that 12 times 4 is 48. So this can reduce by 12 and it will be 1 upon 4. Moving on to the last question. The last question is again the same type of question which we did in direct proportion, but this time it is inversely proportional. So my equation will be y is equals to k upon x. I'm writing directly my equation, and I know that I can see in the table that there is a column in which the value of x and y is given. So both are 2, so I will just put the value of y is 2, and then this k will be as it is, and again I have to replace x with 2. So the value of k will be equals to 4, and my equation connecting x and y will be equals to y is equals to 4 upon x. You have to find this equation. If you are not able to find this equation, you will not be able to solve the other part of the question. In the first part, we have to find the value of y. So I will just write my equation again, 4, and I know that the value of x is 0.5, which has been given to me, so I will just write 0.5 in place of x. And I know that 4 divided by 0.5 is basically 8, so the value of y when x is equals to 0.5 is 8. So I will just replace this value in the table like this. Moving on to the second part. The second part is basically I have to find the value of x, y is given to me. I will start with rewriting the equation y is equals to k upon x. Since I have to find the value of x, so I will just make x as my subject, and I know that x will be equals to k upon y, and I will write the value of k 4, and then again the value of y is also 4. So the value of x will be 4 divided by 4, that is equals to 1. So you just have to make an equation, and the rest is very simple. I hope you will practice these type of questions from D2 as well. There are a lot of questions in D2 chapter number 1. This is basically exercise inverse proportion exercise is 1E, I guess. 1D or 1E, you can find it over there, and you can practice questions, because these topic is coming in your assessment, so it is an important topic, and this question can be of 3 to 4 marks. So I think this 3 to 4 marks is a bonus mark for you. So practice these type of questions from D2, and still, if you have any confusion query, you can discuss. You can comment this video. We can comment on the video, and I will inshallah make some more videos on this topic. Take care. Allah Hafiz.